I turned off my emails because every time I would see an email come in, it would just piss me off.
What are these people doing, man? This one's f***ed. I'm done. Losing my patience.
Now, I don't know if I'm the only one who does this. Maybe I'm crazy, but I literally turned off the email notifications when I get a return on Amazon. And to be perfectly honest, it would almost like ruin my day. And it's so silly because, I'm a 6-figure seller, hoping to be a 7-figure seller this year. That's the goal. And I know at the end of the day, like, returns are part of business, right? We all know it, but there's something about seeing that return come in for $100, $150, $200, because my ASP now, my average selling price, is much higher than it used to be. 2-3 years ago, my average selling price was $30, $40, $50. Now it's $80, $90, even $100 depending on the week, right? It's over $80 consistently now, but hopefully soon it'll be over $100. I'm really focused on higher ticket items. I'll tell you, like, we all know it's part of business, but I turned off my emails because every time I would see an email come in, it would just piss me off. It would make me emotional. And I know they always say, don't be emotional in business. That's the worst thing you could ever do. Hey, I'm admitting it. I made the mistake, right? I would get emotional, so I just turned off the emails. Now, what I've done instead is we have a really good process for checking all the various ASINs and assessing the items that are getting returned. And if we find that specific ASINs, aka products, are getting returned too often, we'll literally put them on the do not buy list. That's what I do. I mean, I have KPIs for the different categories. Like, for example, with DVDs and whatnot, usually my returns are around like 3%. With tools and electronics, it could be, sometimes up to 7%. With toys, it could be, 5% or so. It really depends on the category. And for each product I flip, depending on the risk and, again, the category, some categories I make a lot more margin because it's maybe riskier, and then other categories are less. So I really just play it by ear, and we pay very close to that. One resource you guys can look into is Seller Board. Seller Board can help you to get a better feel of how your ASINs are performing and which ASINs are causing a lot of issues for you, returns. You could also go into the back end of Amazon Seller Central under your returns, and they have some really good information that breaks it all down. You have to, dive a bit deeper into the reports. And one thing I wanted to mention, keep in mind, all because you get a return, it doesn't mean it's a complete loss. You can actually go into your returns and your inventory reports, and Amazon will tell you why they returned it. And Amazon's supposed to inspect it and determine if it's in the same condition and if it should go back into your inventory or not. As we all know, Amazon sucks at that. So it's a bit of Russian roulette, and we have some systems and processes, based on the reason, if we're going to allow them to put it back on our inventory or if we're going to pull it and send it back to us. We can talk about that in another video, but I turned off the emails, and I'm curious. I want to know in the comments down below, are you an emotional wreck like me? It's not that big of a deal, but it would piss me off. Do you allow the emails to come through, or did you turn them off and then just make sure that your KPIs, your key performance indicators, are in line at the end of each month? Again, we run through every week, but also at the end of the month, we make decisions and really go through the problematic inventory to decide if we're going to sell it or not. I turned it off because I found that the negativity, it would just like ruin my mood. And again, I'm sharing, my vulnerabilities, right? My weaknesses, right? Most people on social media, they don't want to admit it, but that's what I did, right? And I think it's important in business to understand, what are your vulnerabilities? What are your weaknesses? What's causing you stress? Because in business, if you're anxious or stressed or pissed off, at least for me, I can only speak for myself, I don't perform as well, right? And I think it's very important to put barriers in between you and maybe triggers. So I turned it off. I'm curious, what do you do? Does it bother you as much as it bothers me? Maybe it's just my passion, but it is what it is. But let me know down below. Curious your thoughts. With that being said, much love, and thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.